Hi, welcome to my channel. This is the Night Crafter, and today I'm going to show you how to make a mini envelope book. Many of you have asked me to make this video, so I will. I want to first acknowledge that I learned how to make this from a video from Lori Noonmaker. I hope I pronounced her name correctly, but I'll find that initial video and I'll link it to this. She made the envelope with an A2 card. What I'm going to show you is making this envelope with a 3x4 4-card envelope. To make a mini envelope book using 3x4 envelopes. Why I chose to do a smaller version of this is I have a lot of 6x6 pads of paper, and what I like to do is start to challenge myself to make projects using those 6x6 double-sided that I have a lot of, because I do make cards. That's my favorite thing to do. So for this video, we're going to be making this book, and I just want to show you a little bit about it. So I use it to actually send as happy mail and embellishment. So on this one, this is the paper pad that I used. It's the Metropolitan Girl by Stephen Duncan. It's distributed by Cartabella. So that's the paper pad. And so what I did is I had a tag, and what I like to do is I created 3 envelopes for this book. So I'm going to show you the book using 3 envelopes. In the first one I have some bling, and you could do whatever you want. The next one I created a pocket on the other side and punched out some hearts, some embossed hearts, and then I actually cut the sleeve of the envelope, and so I could just expose it a bit. Especially when you're using double-sided paper, it looks nice. And I put some embellishments there, some lace on the other side, and clipped it with a paper clip. All this stuff I got at like Michael's. And then the last one envelope is a whole bunch of stickers that I purchased. Actually, these ones were from Hobby Lobby, when Hobby Lobby has like this great deal on stickers. And then on the other side were just some cutouts that I put in there, and then Annette made another little pocket for tags. So this is the book. I like to send this out with Happy Mail with some of my swaps as a little extra for to just put embellishments in there, and I think it's quite fun. So let's get started. What you need for this project, especially if you want to follow me, is the supplies that you'd start with is your favorite 6x6 paper. Make sure it's double-sided because it's easier when you make the envelopes. The second is just get a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper. It should be solid color paper, and that is really to make the spine of the book, right? So you want to coordinate it with your with the pattern paper that you're using. Okay. The other thing that you need, so that's the paper that you would need for this project, and then you'd need some glue dots or small foam squares, a 1/4 inch score tape, or even 1/8 of an inch, whatever size you have, your favorite paper glue, a small heart punch or flower punch, and that is up to you. You could even use stickers, but it's really to create the clasp to open and close the envelope. Okay, some people use magnets, but because it's a mini one, I think the clasp works quite nice. And then you need your envelope maker. I'm going to talk to you about the envelope maker because I learned a few things today on different sizes. And then of course your scoreboard. I'm using the big scoreboard for this project. You could use your your card scoreboard, but this one's better because the piece of paper that you're going to score is 9 inches. All right, so the first step, what I do is I'm telling you to cut 3 pieces of paper 5.5 by 5 inches to create not 2 but 3 envelopes. So I'll fix that. So the paper pad that I'm going to be using for this one is Mind's Eye, and I want to talk to you a little bit about this. When I did the original book, I used the mini envelope punch board by We Are Memory Keepers to make the 3x4 envelope. To make this 3x4 envelope, you require to cut a paper of 5.5 by 5.5 and score it at 3 1/8. And then you would make this size for the mini book. And this is what I used in the other book. What I've noticed though, is I looked at the bigger scoreboard, because I use this a lot. A lot of people have this, and you can make a 3 by 4 envelope as well. And it's telling you to start off by a 6 by 6 piece of paper. So when I did that, it came out a little bigger. So you could use that, but to follow this video, because the spine has to match. So depending how big you do your envelopes, you would make the spine that matches the width, but just make it a little bit bigger. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So what I did is I compromised. I actually, I'm going to be making the envelopes still with the big envelope punch board, but I'm going to cut the paper 5.5 by 5.5 and then score it at 3 1/8. So basically leveraging the same measurements on here, but scoring on the bigger board. And what you'll see is I'm doing that because a lot of people have this scoreboard, and but I like the envelopes to be a little bit less than 4 inches, not 4 1/4. That's how you end up with this one. So it's a little bit bigger. All right, so let's begin. So once again, I'm going to be actually using one of these. So I'm using the measurements on this one for the 3 by 4. So I cut the paper 5.5 by 5.5 and score at 3 1/8 inches. But I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to pick out my paper for the rest of the envelopes. Just seeing what I'm already using. Let's use a flower one. And this one. Okay, so here I have to cut them at 5.5. Okay, and then the other one at 5.5. So once again, I'm using the measurements on the mini scoreboard for the 4 by 6 envelope. So it's same to cut at 5.5 by 5.5. If you just use your big envelope opener for the 3.5, it's gonna ask you to cut your paper at 6 by 6, but I'm not. So once again, I'm leveraging the dimensions on the mini envelope punch board, and I'm gonna use it on the big punch board to make the card size, the envelope that I wanted. So here we will score at 3 1/8. Punch and get those ready. And what I do is I first create my envelopes, because then I see the width, and sometimes I'm off by a little bit, so that's why I like to create them first. And when you do this, I'm actually going to see, yeah, they line up, they're same. Sometimes they're not the same for me, so that's why I have to double check. And I am gonna put some glue, or you can use score tape actually. I'll use some glue. You gotta be careful when you use the glue so it doesn't seep over. And then you, if it seeps over, then you'll have issues and it'll stick. So that's the second one, and I'm gonna make the third one. So again, it's 3 1/8, like that. I want this to be, the green side will be outside. I like the stars. Okay. And we will put that in. And when Lori made them, I'll tell you what she did, which is cool, is on some of them, she seals the envelope. Sorry. She will keep the flap, or some she'll cut the flap. So it's your choice how you want to do it. The book that I made before is Let me just take that apart. The book that I made before, there are 3 envelopes. One of them, I cut the flap off, the middle one, and I want to do the same. So what you do is you choose an envelope that has a pretty inside that you like to expose in your book. So I think with this one, yeah, I'm gonna cut this one, expose that flap. So that's open. Now you have the envelopes done. The next step is I'm gonna have to create the bind. So how are you gonna bind these books together? So we created our 3 envelopes. The next is from your paper pad. I'm saying you could cut your covers, but I'm gonna jump right to the spine with the solid piece of paper. So that is 4 1/4 by 9 inches. So here you're going to cut 4 1/4, and this is to be this width. So since the width is 4 1/4 is a little big, so I'm gonna actually cut it 4 1/8 by 9. So I'm just gonna do that. A little bit less than 4 1/4 what I originally thought. And it's by 9 inches, so just cut 2 inches off. This is an 8.5 by 11. So just cut 2 inches off, and I did. All right, for our next step, you need to score. So I'm gonna go a little bit slower here. So now you have your 9 inches. You have to be accurate with that. That has to be 9 inches. The width here really depends on how big your envelope is, because this is the binding. So you could have it a little bit bigger, and that's what I did here, that there's a little bit, I don't know if you could see it, there's like 1/8 of an inch gap. And you do that so when you close it, you don't see the envelope, you don't see the envelope sticking out. So see when it's like that. All right. So now when you are making your, so now I have to score. When you're making your score lines, score them at every 1/2 inch. And that's why I like the Martha Stewart scoreboard, because I feel like I could go faster. I have the other scoreboard, the mini Score Pal, which I like, and it's great, and I just use it for scoring cards. But the Martha one, I feel like I go faster and I don't get confused. All right, so we scored that, and what you need to do now is just score it like, start folding them. So if you looked at it, I started like with Valley, right? Fold the first one up, and then you just keep on, like you're making a rosette, but you're not gonna seal the 2 edges together. I'll show you what I mean. So I just want to make this nice and sealed, creased. So you go like that, and you crease them really nicely. So it's like this. And this will be the back of the spine, and this will be like the inside of the book. So, and how it works is these pages will go inside, and we'll seal them that way. But before I do that, what I want to do now is create a cover, so 2 covers. You could do a solid color, or you could just get your paper from this paper pad, and do a cover. And I think I will was gonna do them both the same, but probably not. Yeah, I'll do one cover and the other cover. All right, so to make the cover, since these are, once again, I have it at a little bit less than 3 by 4. You want the cover to butt up against this exactly. So once again, I always double check. I did this 4 1/8, and the length I want is probably 3 1/8. So let's try doing it that way, 4 1/8. And then I would do 3 1/8. Let me check it again. Yeah. Let's do it here too. Sorry, very quickly. Because I know a lot of people don't have a lot of patience and we're really busy. I want to take everybody's time doing these videos, so I try to make them very quick. Okay, so these are your 2 covers for the book. And this is why it's important. Now, this is the hard part of the whole project. This is how I do it. But you have to have patience, and hopefully, I'll zoom in, see if I do this right, and everyone can see it. So I hope you guys can all see it. So these are the 3 envelopes I'm gonna use. 1, 2, and 3. So this one's gonna be the first one. This will be the middle. Okay, and then I have a cover. So I'm gonna make this the back cover, and this will be the front cover. So probably make this the front cover. Okay, so let's begin. So how you do this on the first flap, so this is the back. So what you could do, and I start with the back first, and just put some glue, and you create it. And this is your back cover. You seal it together. Okay? It's your first one. And you did your first page, part of the book. I could do the front cover as well and get that out of the way. But I'll leave that last. But you could do, I'll leave that last. So this is where it gets tricky. So the first one is the front cover. Then you don't glue it here. You go to the second valley. Okay? So this is your first. I glued it, stuck it together. You leave that blank and you go to the other valley. So this one. And you put your page in. So once again, I did the first one. Do not, the second valley, do not glue it. Glue the third valley from the right. And then you put the other page in. Okay, and you close it up. Very important to do that, because if you don't, and why I like the glue is you could just make sure it's pushed all the way at the bottom. Okay. So now you have the second one. So leave that valley and go to the next one. Do not glue this valley because you'll see it. You'll need it for your, so you open your pages, right? So leave that blank and go to the next one. So I glue that, like so. And I'm using the envelope that is cut open, that I cut the flap. And line it, tell your other envelope is. There. It gets, okay? So once again, this one you leave, do not glue that, leave that blank, and then you glue this one. This is your last envelope that you're gonna glue. Put that in there. What's interesting is I'm using paper that doesn't have like it can't go upside down. So I've done this book with pattern paper that there are words horizontally and you have to line it up. But I recommend on your first book, don't even bother getting that complicated. Just use pattern paper that you don't have to worry about if it's upside or down. This is like stressful enough just getting the book together. All right, now once again, so you have that blank and then you glue the cover. This is the last page. Sorry, this is the last thing that you have to glue together, but it's the front page. So I'm actually gonna make the front page this color because the card, the first envelope is green or aqua. And there. So the book is attached like so. It's a little bit all over the place, right? But we're not done. So that is sealing, putting the pages in the valley folds to make the spine. And I wish I put this as the front cover. That's nice too. But unfortunately, it's this way, which I like it actually, because it means you could put some more noisy embellishments on the cover. Let me what? Okay. So so hopefully I wasn't off camera too much showing that, and you got that. So what I do is I press it together and your book and your pages are there. But now you have to come to the other side. And the other side is where you have to glue every spine together and squeeze it so they are stuck together. I did this book with, I did this one with the art glitter glue. So using this glue, it worked fine. Or you could use your score tape. So I did tell you that some people, they want to use their score tape. That'll work as well. But I like using the glue because it's a bit forgiving when you're doing this. So what I do is just start putting the glue in the middle like that. And then you just put it in there. In between, and then you squeeze them together. Remove any excess. And you hold it for a bit. So this will take a while to dry. But you're actually making the bind because then you could open it up and look at that. See? You made your little book. I love when you glue it all together and then it's like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, so that's how you do this. And I wanted to show you quickly why I said you had to use, so this is actually gluing pretty quickly. So now how you could use the flap. So you could either put the, let me just, so just let me, forgot to finish this. Okay. So for your flaps, I said before if you had like a heart punch, and that's really to seal your envelope. So with a heart punch, I'm just going to punch out a few parts. So this one, or we could actually like use two pink ones. And then when I said that you needed glue dots, so this is where that's where you could put your heart, and that creates a seal, right? So you want to put your foam square on the edge, and I use the thin ones because you don't need it for that. Doesn't have to be, the gap doesn't have to be that big. And that just closes the envelope. It's cute, isn't it? And then I'll do the next one up there, but this one I'll probably use a blue heart. Because that's a busier one. And maybe I'll put the heart on the like that up there. No, I don't like it. Didn't work. Sorry, I folded it. I'll put the pink one then. And then I put another pink one. So that's how you make the book. It's very simple. What I'll do is I'll post the instructions and I'll make sure I correct it to make 2 envelopes. But it's just very easy and I hope you enjoyed it. What you could do is start, you know, putting pockets. You can put pockets in on the sides. You could really do whatever you want. I think it's just a neat little way to make a book and put embellishments in it and swap with your friends. Thank you for watching and have a great evening.